Bartholomew Jojo Simpson, otherwise known as Bart Simpson, is a mischievous, rebellious, yet misunderstood character in this beloved show. However, it seems that his actions are much darker than the show is portrayed. From being a potential agent of hell to almost killing some other characters, Bart has more to him than some simple pranks and causing trouble. I'm your host Andrew, and here are your top 10 Bart Simpson scary urban legends. Starting our list right, we have Bart is destined to enter hell. We all know that Bart is a troublesome and disobedient character. Most of the Simpson episodes show Bart acting with no filter, usually causing mayhem all around Springfield. In one episode, he's seen acting friendly towards the devil. This is something worth mentioning because throughout the whole show, we see that Bart has trouble listening to others, but when it comes to the devil, he is all ears. In all past depictions, the devil is able to see into the future, so approaching Bart shows that someday he will join him in hell. Coming in at our number 9 spot, we have Bart puts Homer in a coma forever. In season 4, episode 18, we see Bart trying to play a prank on Homer by shaking up his can of beer, except it goes very, very wrong. The beer explodes and puts Homer in a coma. This is where Reddit user Hard to Pick a Name, well, he claims that Homer has been in this coma for the remainder of the whole show due to Bart's devilish pranks. Like, I mean the whole show, from seasons 4 to 33. The season 4 episode ends with Homer waking up and choking Bart, but it all seems a little too sudden. This would explain why none of the characters seem to age during the show, since Homer only remembers Bart, Lisa, and Maggie as 10, 8, and 1 years old. And if we think about the plot lines before and after this coma, it gets pretty weird. Before this episode, the plot lines included Bart cheating on an IQ test or Homer trying to give up drinking. Yeah, sounds pretty normal. But after this coma, the plot lines include Homer going into space, or even Mr. Burns discovering the Loch Ness Monster. Some say this is Homer's imagination running wild while he's in a coma. He is able to dream up scenarios and fantasies that literally bend the rules of reality. Tragically, at our number 8 spot, we have Bart ruin Martin's life. During the course of the show, Bart is shown to cause problems to wherever he went and whoever he met. In the second episode ever of The Simpsons, called Bart the Genius, he swaps his aptitude test with Martin's. Bart's test is given a very high score, and as a result, he is sent to a separate school for the gifted. He ends up confessing later and then is removed. However, on the other end, Martin never fully recovered from this. While Bart was ultimately removed from the gifted school because he did not belong there, Martin never even got the chance to attend. Well, it's kind of sad because instead of moving on to a program where he could have been challenged and potentially thrive, Bart's cheating has kept Martin stuck at this underperforming, poor educational Springfield Elementary School. To our surprise, at number 7, we have Bart is a stonecutter. In the 12th episode of the 6th season, Homer the Great, we're introduced to the secret organization, the Stonecutters. The Stonecutters are a group of people who value greed, power, and privilege. So it's not really hard to believe that Bart is a part of this one. A Reddit user by the name of Ty Piper coined this theory. He stated that in order to become a stonecutter, you must either be the son or save the life of one. In one episode, Bart donates his blood to Mr. Burns, which saves his life, which makes Bart an immediate candidate. Have you ever wondered how Bart receives barely any sort of punishment for the mischievous deeds he does? Well, it seems that Principal Skinner is a stonecutter himself. And if that wasn't enough, Grandpa Abe is also a stonecutter, which makes both Homer and Bart eligible to join. Bart just seems like a perfect candidate, and despite the fact that you don't see him in the table of stonecutters, it's simply because they don't need to be present. Especially since he's a child after all. You may have heard this one, but at number 6 we have Dead Bart. While characters on the show rarely die, apart from Maud Flanders, one early episode from the series sees Bart bite the dust, according to some intense fandom chatter. The rather grim theory floating around suggests that there is one unaired episode out there titled Dead Bart, in which the eldest Simpson kid was killed after being sucked from an airplane. But it's also been debunked by some as a simple creepypasta story. The show's producers also named an episode Bart's Not Dead, which kind of poked fun at this theory. There's also some grainy footage circulating around the internet, which some diehard fans may use as evidence. But this theory is not backed up with that much evidence as the others in this list. Right in the hump of our list, we have Bart Has ADHD. Bart is not your regular 8-year-old. His actions are much different than you'd see from a regular kid his age. From consistent pranks to blowing up Springfield multiple times, Bart's brain would be an interesting piece for psychologists to study. And that's exactly what they did. And after deep investigation, they came to the conclusion that Bart has ADHD. For example, in the first episode of season 2 called Bart Gets an F, he gets easily distracted by video games and television, which accounts for his bad grades and missed family announcements. This distraction affected his grades so much that he needed to repeat the 4th grade. On top of this, Bart has shown many signs of deceitfulness, serious violations of the rules, and deliberately annoys people. Bart also talks excessively and is unable to stay quiet most of the time. And guess what? These are all signs that Bart has ADHD. Well, I'm not trying to say that bad grades equals ADHD, but a combination of his actions and his motives show clear symptoms of the disorder. You wouldn't believe what we have at number 4, and we have that Bart is actually a genius? According to Reddit user Kirby Clock, everyone in the Simpsons family is a genius, including Bart. In season 9, episode 17, we learn about the infamous Simpson gene, which claims that Simpsons males get increasingly dumber as they age, while the women don't get affected at all. This would explain why Bart and Homer are troublemakers with little to no logic behind their actions. Then in season 12, episode 9, we learn that Homer would actually be an intelligent man if he didn't have a crayon lodged up his nose and near his brain. With the crayon removed, Homer's IQ goes up a total of 50 points. Despite his newly profound intelligence, Homer decides to put the crayon back in hopes to avoid debates and arguments with his friends and the community. Bart ties into this because he makes a similar decision. Even though his dad is dumber than ever, he is actually a happy person. Bart is said to follow this path of dumb happiness from his father, because sometimes being happy is better than being smart. However, you can see glimpses of his intellect through his well thought out and clever pranks. Basically, Bart is aware of his intelligence but denies it to avoid a deep depression like his father. All the way at our number 3 spot, we have Bart exploits allergies. We all know Bart as a troublemaker, but this one seems a little bit too dark. Exploiting someone's allergies is not only cruel, but you know, it can also cause death, making Bart a potential murderer. After his school bans peanuts, an annoyed Bart discovers that it's not a student with this, but it's in fact Principal Skinner. We know how much Bart likes to prank the principal, so he decides to take full advantage of this opportunity. He places a peanut on a stick and shoves it in Skinner's face. He uses the stick to bully the principal in many ways, such as hurling beer cans in his direction, and even forcing him to do the classic writing on the blackboard. This is one of the cases where Bart just went a little bit too far. At our number 2 spot, we have Bart create the Hypno Toad. Let's switch shows for a second. Do you remember the Hypno Toad in the Futurama universe? Because according to Reddit user Cole Burns, the Hypno Toad would have never existed if it wasn't for Bart Simpson. In season 6, episode 16, called Bart vs. Australia, Bart decides to release an invasive species of frog into the wild. We see many instances of this frog around the Simpson universe as well, including a 2056 election and with Lisa in the beginning of a Treehouse of Terror episode. The general idea is that at some point after the toad was introduced to the land down under, it adapted into its future form. This is pretty crazy because this would mean that these two shows coexisted in the same universe. Taking our number 1 spot in our list, we have the evil twin. In the first episode of season 8 named Treehouse of Terror, we are introduced to Bart's twin Hugo II. However, his twin brother was much more evil and sinister than Bart himself. In this episode, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie discover Hugo after they heard strange noises coming from the attic, and after Homer spilled the beans about there being 4 Simpson children. As the evil twin, Hugo has been living in the attic of the Simpson home, and once a week was given a bucket of fish heads to eat because, well, he was supposedly evil, right? Hugo also did experimental surgery to prepare for his eventual reattachment to Bart and create a pigeon rat in the process. The family later learned, however, that Bart was actually the evil twin, as Hugo's scar from when he and Bart separated was on the wrong side. Bart then took Hugo's place in the attic and was fed fish heads, while Hugo was moved downstairs to live with the family. So did anything on our list stick out, or was there anything that we missed for you Simpson fans? Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. These are your top 10 Bart Simpson scary urban legends. I'm your host Andrew, and I hope you have a scary day.